And I just realized that I was muted. Can you hear me now? Whoops. Okay. Well, if any one of you are lip readers, tell everyone what I said. Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. There we go. Okay. Yeah, he's playing a Purim joke on us. Yeah. Okay. Start over. So what I was saying. Hello, everybody. I'm back from RootsTech. Don't know if you can hear my voice, but I did get sick with something. That was funny because when I first started to see the uh-oh, I saw uh-oh, and I was like, oh, he's talking about me being sick. But I got sick of RootsTech, I guess. Didn't feel it until I got back. It's been, I think, a cold. It's been so mild that I actually wasn't even sure if it was a cold or if it was just me being so tired from literally almost no sleep over that entire week of RootsTech. But then this morning I woke up in a way that was like, oh yeah, it's definitely something, but I already feel way better. So that's all that you missed. Welcome everybody. We're going to be chatting about what happened at RootsTech, a lot of stuff in terms of like the updates from the companies, which always big updates. And one of the updates I am so excited about more than any of the others. And I am not seeing people talk about this update as much as they are talking about the others. Granted, the others are pretty damn good as well. But first, we'll do our hellos. Rob, iets te vroeg tot later. Ja, tot ziens. Ik hoop dat zie later ik. I think I said that right. I don't know. I always screw up those double ones or whatever. Anna Tommaso, see you in a bit. Anna, well, Anna, I got to see you in person at RootsTech a couple of times. Ran into you in the hall, and then you came up before my talk to say hello. So it was great to see you, and that's a thing I should say too. Whenever I go to these conferences, you get the chance to meet me. So I go to a lot of these conferences too. But all right, let's keep going. Good day. How's everybody's day today? Well, hello, Brian. Good to see you. How we got here, Genealogy. For those who don't know, he's another genealogy YouTuber. Definitely check out his stuff, especially if you have Canadian and or Scottish ancestry, or I guess especially Canadian Scottish ancestry. Julie Joyce, not too good. Trap Nerve. Ooh, hope you're well. I've been watching your YouTube channel. Yeah, for Brian. Very good. Yeah, hope you are feeling better, Julia. And hello, M. Qua. I saw that you had a question and people are helping you. So let's keep jumping through the hellos. Carmen Gal, hi from Nebraska. Hello, good to see you again. Maven 2, hi from the road. Well, hello. We have Adam Biros. Good evening from Swindon, England. Howdy. Good to have you. More of that question and answer stuff. James Burton, hi from London. Hello, James. Good to see you. Let's see. Some more hellos. Vicky B, hello from the UK. Kimberly Weed, hi from Colorado. Hello. Hello from Roseville, California with Penny Bailey. Hello, Penny. Good to have you. Adam Scott, hello from the UK. Hello, Adam. And Guardian Angel, got the notification on Twitch rather than YouTube this time, so I thought I'd watch from this side of things today. Hello, how was RootsTech? Well, good to have you. RootsTech was great. We'll definitely talk about that today. Not sure how long I'll go with not feeling 100%, but yeah, hopefully we'll get through some good stuff at least. But yeah, RootsTech was really good. Eric Sheridan, hello from Kansas City, Missouri. Hello, Eric. Good to have you as always. Bear Var, hi from Zurich. Very curious with the huge genealogy update. Well, we'll dive into that. Thumbnail should hopefully give some of that away. Hoi from Amsterdam. Hoi, hoe gaat het? Hope you're doing well. And then we got the muted. Sean, hello from Ireland. Hello, Sean. Good to have you. Yeah, no sound. Geen geluid. Heather, hello from Central Ontario, Canada. Hello, Heather. Good to have you. All right. All these PZ, hi GV. Have you noticed MyHeritage changed our Ashkenazi Jewish titles from Ashkenazi Jewish with all the ones to Ashkenazi Jewish, Central Europe, etc.? I think that this is better. Good to see you back. Yeah, if you go to the main channel and you watch the last video I put out, which was about my results with the new MyHeritage update, I do talk about that a little bit. All right. Yeah, all the stuff go. Yeah, I've jumped through all of that. Yeah, he's probably giving us the most juiciest of genealogy gossip. We all missed it. Yep, you all missed it. Although if someone does read lips, you'll be able to see exactly what I said. Patrick, hello. RootsTech was great. There was definitely a cold going around. Yeah, there definitely was. I think after the first, like, I got there on Tuesday. The first events for like people involved, well, not just people involved with the conference, but I guess like speakers and media and stuff like that was on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I'd already heard of like people who had been there on Wednesday that were like sick now. So I didn't feel anything until I got back. In fact, I really didn't feel anything until, I guess, yesterday, maybe Wednesday. I was feeling just tired, but I mean, I was on like 5-6 hours of sleep by the end of it, like the literally 2 hours of sleep a night for a couple of nights. So yeah, I put my body through it. But RootsTech was a lot of fun, and I think we got to meet. If I can't remember 100% sure, but I think we did. Let me know if we did. Adam, let me guess, the big update from 23andMe. I've seen a short video from RootsTech. So not the update from 23andMe, but we might dive into that as well. All the big companies had big updates. And one interesting thing was this was the first time 23andMe has been back to RootsTech since pre-COVID for sure, but I don't know if it was 2020 or 2019, but they haven't been there for a few years. The enabled disabled, hello from Stockholm, Sweden. Hello. I don't know what it was there. My brain like had a little glitch. Nick Brokema, goedenavond vanuit Groningen. Goedenavond. Ik hoop dat alles goed met jou. Guardian Angel, just realized my name different here. This is Drea. Oh, Drea. Okay, actually, that's funny because when I saw the surname or when I saw the name, I thought it was Gina, who's in here a lot as well, because I think she has something like Gina Angel or something like that. So, okay, hey, Drea, good to see you. Good to see you. SWR, how we got there should be able to. Oh, you're talking about that stuff. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, let's keep going. Okay, Liv, hi from Toronto. Hello, Liv. Hello, Stig from Oslo. Good to have you as always. Man UTD 729 from Cleveland, Ohio. Look forward to the news on the updates. My paternal grandpa's maternal grandfather was born Jewish, by the way. My paternal grandpa's maternal grandfather. So it'd be your second great grandfather or great grandmother? Great grandfather? Yeah, your grandfather's grandparent. Yeah. Not 100% there. Yeah, hello from Sarnia, Ontario. Hello, Margie. Good to have you. And John Tyner, good evening from Ireland. Hello, John. Good to have you. RootsTech was good for me. I got to hang out with the WikiTree people. Not a whole lot. I really was not in the expo hall as much. I was really busy this week. But I got another WikiTree shirt, so that was awesome. Illyrian, hello from Spain, sir. I hope all okay. Well, I am doing okay. Not bad, not great, but okay. But hope you are doing well. Good to see you, Illyrian. Oh, BNMLR, hello. Good to meet you at RootsTech. Yes, it was good to meet you. And I remember when I was like, what was your username? You told me BNMLR. So good to see you here in the chat. Good to have you. Mark Davis, afternoon, kids. Well, afternoon, Mark. Good to have you. Anna, I caught a cold despite wearing a mask at RootsTech as well. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. So I guess, yeah, it really was going around. I haven't seen a lot of people posting about it, but I also haven't posted about it. This is the first I've really mentioned publicly that I have been, but sure, there were a lot of others. Hope you don't have RSV. I had that back in early February. COVID was a walk in the park compared to that. I hope not. I don't know what the symptoms are like for that, but if the symptoms are bad in the morning, feel way better later, and no fever, mild sore throat. Basically, that's all I have. Like right now, the majority of what I have is just like a mild sore throat. No issues breathing, no cough, no nasally stuff, no, a little fatigue. Yesterday I had a little muscle fatigue sort of stuff, but nothing, it's like literally just in the throat. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll be good tomorrow. 23andMe announced 23andMe announcing in a conference that they're going to introduce an improved chromosome browser with triangulation, and probably this year. Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing. 23andMe, I think, finally got the message that the way for them to survive as a company is to stop focusing so much on the medical research and selling this as a medical thing, and to focus on the genealogy, because that's where the consistent money is. And as well, it's where people feel most comfortable doing DNA, because 23andMe selling your DNA, even if you have to opt in to do that, it just, a lot of people don't like that, because they get that feeling of, well, what if they change the terms of service to say, well, now you don't have to opt in, we're just going to sell your DNA, which I can't remember. I think one company might have done that at some point, or I don't know. It's hard to keep track of everything like that, but even if it did happen like that, I know I wouldn't be that worried, but I know that would worry a lot of people. Yeah, Mark, I've lucked out so far. My hotel room was very dry, which gave me a sore throat, but never developed into anything. Yeah, it was really dry this year. I usually don't have that big of an issue with the dryness in Salt Lake City, but this year it was definitely way drier. But I want to say in a lot of past years, it snowed a lot more. So I wonder if that happened. Patrick, we did meet. Question about Ancestry's new networks feature. Do you know if those will be searchable? I don't know yet. I haven't played around with that feature as much. The one that we're going to dive into today will be the one that I've kind of played around with the most. But I did see about the update with that networks, and it is very interesting. It's one of the Pro Tools things, so you have to pay for it, unfortunately. And actually, why don't I share my screen? That way it's not just my pretty face you're looking at, but also some interesting information. As much as I know you all enjoy my pretty face. Okay, so yeah, networks and Ancestry, it's a Pro Tools thing. And I guess it is beta testing phase, but I thought maybe they haven't updated this, because I thought they said at RootsTech that it was now rolled out for everybody. But basically it's like a grouping of people and allows you to do much more in-depth searching. So it's, I think they're kind of doing what Storied does, which is where they're focusing on almost that fan research. Oh, literally, look, friends, associates, and neighbors. Yeah, so literally, yeah. So I think this will be really interesting in terms of being able to do fan research much more easily, because it's hard to keep track of, who were all of the business associates of your ancestors and all that. But yeah. So I think that'll be interesting. But the one that we're going to focus on is going to be the facial recognition stuff that Ancestry rolled out. But yeah, let's continue with the hellos real quick. Rob, hoi, hoe gaat het? Ik hoop dat alles goed met jou. And yeah, I'm excited about the networks thing for Ancestry. I haven't caught up on the rest of the RootsTech presentations to see the rest of the big news tomorrow. Yeah, there was a lot. All right, I'm going to kind of just quickly scroll through, just kind of see if there's anything to say, because I want to jump into this, and I'm worried that I might not go as long as I usually do, but I don't know. Yeah, Wikitree did have an update as well. Still getting used to the new layout. Yes, Wikitree has had a new website layout. So if you go to Wikitree, it looks differently. I've hopped on there once or twice, but like I said, the main thing I focused on is the facial recognition stuff. Okay. Mark, enjoyed your session on the future of genealogy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was very happy to see I had a good crowd of people, a lot of great questions, a lot of questions that I think I like. It was kind of hard to answer because some folks, it was like, with how far back they were, I wish they had actually had someone walking around with a mic for questions in that room. I think it definitely needed it, especially some of the questions in the back. Like even people were shouting, and it was like I could hear them, but I couldn't fully make out everything. But there were some good, really good questions, really intriguing questions as well. All right, jumping forward. Oh, my dad, Pete and Jack say hi. Well, I don't know how you know that they're saying hi because they're lying right over here, right next to me. But hey, Dad, thanks for joining. Eric, Connie Knox has an interview with Krista Cowan where she talks about networks. Yeah, Connie, Amy Johnson Crow, and Amy Cross were doing a lot of that kind of content from RootsTech, I believe. Well, actually, I'm not 100% sure if that's what Amy Johnson Crow is doing. But also, is it Denise Allen? I think that is. I'm sorry. I don't know if Denise is here. I know it's Denise with a Y, but I can never. Yeah, it is Denise. Okay, sorry. But Denise Allen, she has a YouTube channel as well. And I can't remember what that is called, but I'm going to pull that up. Chronicle Makers. Yeah, she got a lot of content, I believe, from RootsTech as well. And then also Steve Little and Mark Thompson that, do a lot of AI work in genealogy. They were there doing their podcast stuff, interviewing a bunch of people. Honestly, there were a ton of people there. RootsTech does an amazing job of making the media feel super comfortable. They give us our own area. They give us a place to charge and be able to put down like our bags filled with, tons of gear, and not feel like it's going to be an issue. They give us food. They give us drinks. Drinks, I should say, waters. Yeah, this year they only had water. In past years, they've had sodas and stuff, but they always have snacks. And they had full-size candy bars in there for us this year. So it was like, yeah, they make us feel good. So a lot of people that do genealogy content, they make it so it's easy. And plus we get, when we're signed up as media, we get like a free pass to get in. They give us like all this extra stuff. They do a dinner for us. It's actually pretty cool. So for any of the people on here who are genealogy media people, whether you're a fellow YouTuber, Brian Nash, granted, Brian, I know I don't know how easy travel is for you from Canada now, but anyone, if you have podcasts, whatever, look into doing the media thing. It's pretty cool. Okay, I'm just kind of jumping through. Yeah, Ancestry also doing auto clustering for matches. That was one of the other big announcements as well, which is awesome to see. Granted, it's something that's already been available. And as someone who knows E.J. Blum, who invented auto clustering through his website Genetic Fairs, and all the websites that have used auto clustering up until this point have worked with EJ, Ancestry did not. And I can't remember. I don't know how EJ feels about it necessarily, but it definitely was like a little like, really? Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they even, said, hey, we got this idea from auto clustering already. But I have not played with that yet. I don't know if it's available. Might not be. Not everything they announce is always available right off the bat. I thought the big layoffs at Ancestry would be bigger news at RootsTech. Yeah, I really didn't hear that much about it. And I was meeting up with tons of people from Ancestry, from both the Ancestry side, like, Krista, I'm on the IHAGS board with Krista, so I saw her all Sunday. We had our IHAGS meeting, saw her for the dinner the night before we had, saw her a bunch of different times, saw her on Wednesday night randomly walking through the hotel, and she was like holding court, and I just stopped, and then I was like, I might as well be part of this. Also, a lot of the people from Ancestry Pro Ancestry. Yeah, the side of Ancestry where you're hiring them to research your family. But yeah, I didn't hear that much about it. So Ancestry will get auto clusters in the coming weeks. It might be rolled out, but I'm not 100% sure. It might not be. I just got Diane Southern's book and workbook. I actually just met her for the first time at this conference, although funny enough, I have photos of her doing karaoke at the MyHeritage Friends Party. I have a lot of photos of people doing karaoke at the MyHeritage Friends Party. We went to Dave and Buster's. MyHeritage took a bunch of genealogists out to Dave and Buster's. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. Oh, the sodas were in the exhibitors area. Drank my fill. Well, they didn't have it in the speakers area. They didn't have sodas in the speakers area. At least if they did, I didn't notice. I only noticed bottles of water, and then they had the like water jugs at the media booth, similar to what they had all over the place. But that was one great thing that they did. They had water coolers everywhere. It was easy to find a water cooler. I mean, they literally had it like 4 or 5 per room, like some of them outside, one inside, all over the place. Brian, I am planning on trying to get down there next year. Awesome. Well, hopefully you look into applying for media. Might be worthwhile looking into applying to speak too. I mean, you're very experienced. And yeah, but either way, coming down, I mean, it's an experience. If you love genealogy, it's definitely a worthwhile experience. Oh man, I miss karaoke. Not being sarcastic, love karaoke. Well, what I might do, I don't know if I can do this. I'll have to see. I don't know if I want to embarrass him necessarily, but I have video of Daniel Horowitz and Alec Ferretti from Reclaim the Records singing duo on Bohemian Rhapsody, and they get into it. I also love the fact that there's like a part of it where Daniel walks out of nowhere and then just like a microphone appears in his hand. It's hilarious. All right. So what we're going to get into, the main thing is we're going to get into the facial recognition stuff from Ancestry, which I believe that they're just calling Ancestry Recognize. This is something that I have been talking about for a while. Facial recognition was something that really hit my radar for genealogy after I saw Scott Genzer speak. That must have been 4 or 5 years ago now, because it was first time I saw him speak was at one of the virtual conferences. I want to say it was IHAGS, so it might have been all the way back to 2020. Might have been actually 2020. But basically, once I saw that and the ability to actually take facial recognition and apply it where you could identify people in historical photos and unknown relatives, it was like, oh my gosh, there's so much we could discover from this in so many ways. And so seeing that a big company is rolling out a facial recognition tool used for the idea that I have of actually finding these people is awesome. And this is the first big company to do it. There is a company called Related Faces that is doing it on its own, is like creating its own database that you search against. Family Search has had something known as Compare a Face for a long time. But beyond that, it was only like singular projects as well. So Scott Genzer had his own projects. I think I've seen some other projects from certain people, but this is the first big company really rolling something out. So I'm trying to pull up, I thought I had it before. I'm trying to pull up their like news page about it. Because I saw it. Where is it? Oh, what is going on? Okay. You know what? Forget it. We'll just jump into showing the tool. So basically, this is a photo that's in my family collection. I might have actually received this photo from a second cousin of mine. Basically, these are my great-grandparents. This is Harry Ross and his wife, my great-grandmother, Pearl Waxman. So Harry and Pearl. This is Harry's brother, Isidore, whose descendant, I believe, is the one I got this from. And this is Isidore's wife. But everybody else at this table, let me make sure. Yeah. Everybody else at this table, I do not know who they are. But when you look at those faces, especially like look at my great-grandfather and then look at this guy, they're at a banquet of some sort, like a wedding or a bar mitzvah or something, and the similarity is just too uncanny. They have to be related. Same here. Like, I don't know exactly the relation of these people, but assuming like the couples, it'd be this is a couple, this is a couple, and this is a couple. But then, like, I was also thinking, well, maybe it's not all couples, because if you look at this man, this woman, and this woman, along with my great grandfather and his brother, they all look very much alike, as well as this woman here. So it has me thinking that these must be relatives of mine in some way. You know, they're all sat together at the same table. And so this has been one of the photos that has always been a idea of, if I could just do facial recognition, could I identify them? And this is exactly what Recognize is aimed to do. And all you have to do it, you pull up the photo in like the tagging form. So over here, you have all like the different stuff. So there's tags. This is the Recognize. So Recognize ancestors. Not sure who's in your photo. Ancestry can scan your photos and use AI to help identify deceased people who might be there. And so, yes, this is AI. This is artificial intelligence. This is not the same as ChatGPT, which is a large language model, and a large language model being part of the generative AI family tree, whereas this is facial recognition. So this is not generating something. This is using it in a different way. I don't know exactly what umbrella this would fall under. I'm not an AI expert, but I know enough to speak a bit on it. But anyway, so just to show how it works, we click on a face and you can see how it identifies a bunch of faces. So this is where I really thought of in terms of the power of facial recognition, is the background people, especially when you think of historical photos. You know, photos of people standing around at an event, photos of people watching a speech or whatever, but like to learn like who was there and know for sure. Now, obviously, there's a lot of issues with this and difficulties with this, and we'll kind of get into that as we look at it. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't always recognize people. It doesn't always find a match. So if it runs the same, so no faces found. But when I ran this for this couple, I got some really interesting results. So first, we'll run her because she was the first I ran. So ran her, and then I got Sophie Ratz. And looking at the photo, this would be much older. But the thing to remember is this is kind of like DNA, but a little bit more difficult in that the photos aren't going to be a perfect match. So the way that I've seen it, they break it down as great, good, and then it gets fair. And yeah, I guess that's it. I think as time goes on, they'll give more a percentage number, which I think would be better, because it'd be like understanding DNA in just the relationship ranges estimates they give us. Well, that's not really worthwhile. We need the actual amount of shared DNA, the centimorgans. That's what helps us the most. So same with facial recognition. I think we'll start to see, this one's 91% correlated. This one's 82% or whatever. And then having kind of a general guideline of where that falls in. So Sophie Raditz fits well, but knowing that, with facial recognition and knowing how doppelgangers exist, there is a possibility that they are not going to be the same person. So we want to also look at location and story. Does it fit? Well, I know that my family was in Philadelphia. The photo actually says Philadelphia, 41 PA. So we know Philadelphia, likely 1941. So one, were they alive in 1941? And two, would it make sense that they would be in Philadelphia at that time? Granted, this is a wedding event. So, they might have been living in California and came out to Philly for this. But still, just, does it fit? And when I looked at her story, yes, about 1891, Russia, dies 1965 in Atlantic City. But when I look at the trees and I'll look at this top one and I check the data, well, they were in Philly. They were in Pennsylvania. So it makes a lot of sense. Now, what I thought was really interesting about this was that Oh, I guess we'll get to that when we look at the other guy. But so I looked at her, but then I also looked at her tree, and we'll notice who's her husband. This guy, Harry Opeskin Levine. So if my assumption is correct that this is her husband, then when I do facial recognition, it should come up as Harry Opeskin Levine. And well, look at that. It comes up as a better match, a great match. Hers was good. His is great. So to me, everything combined, I am very confident that these two people are the ones that facial recognition is saying they are. That this is Sophie Raditz and that this is Harry Levine. Two people I don't have in my tree. Now, I will say, stop. Stupid. Okay, there we go. Now, I will say, of everybody at the table, they seem to look the least like the others. But I still think that they do look a lot, or not a lot alike, but they do look slightly alike some of the others, especially in terms of like looking at her and then looking at the like the kind of the cheek shape, the face shape, as well as kind of like that's the way the smile hangs. Well, I guess the smile was, who was it I compared the smile to? I can't remember. But the nose was a big one to me too. Like if you look at her nose, you look at their noses, they all kind of have this same like kind of bubble whatever at the front, I guess you could say. So yeah, so let me take a look. I have not looked at chats. Oh yeah, the karaoke might just be the draw for me. Well, I promised Daniel Horowitz from MyHeritage that if he brings a guitar next year, that I promised that I would play and sing a song on guitar. So he said, deal, he's doing it. So it might be karaoke and a sing-along. Okay. Share on Discord, please. I have to think about it. I don't know if that was an event that I should necessarily be sharing stuff from like that. I guess I'd need to really make sure Alec and Daniel are okay with it, but I'd imagine they would be. But yeah. Weeping Scorpion, our Faroe Islands representation is in the house. Hey everyone. Hope everyone's good. All right. Forever was showing off their photo recognition tool too. It was money. Yeah, I think this is the strongest because it's the newest thing. Nobody else has this. And I honestly foresee a future where it's not just recognize this face and it like basically, as far as I understand it, why is it not doing it now? As far as I understand it, it's just searching across other family trees. So, yeah, so like we look at these, it's just family trees. But I see a future where we upload a photo of your ancestor and any record that has their face on it, any like yearbooks and all the other things that have faces, but also naturalization records have a lot of faces, passports, whatever. If there's a face, then just searching by the face. Like, could you imagine uploading an image of your ancestor and getting back a bunch of other images of them? Which technically you could, like, people I know have tried to do that as a backdoor way with using Google, because Google has an image search sort of thing. Although I don't know if it works quite the same, but we're really just starting to see the beginning of this. And I could honestly see facial recognition turning into something similar to DNA, where all of a sudden it's like, or I guess almost like ChatGPT has been, where once it hits a point where everybody realizes the power of it, that we start seeing people really diving into it. And I did when I was at RootsTech, I did a guest spot for Steve Little and Mark Thompson's AI podcast. And we talked largely about facial recognition. So I don't want to give everything away that I talked about in there. But I really see this as something that could be amazing beyond anything that we would expect. Especially in the sense that there are people who are trying to see, is there a facial recognition or a facial comparison sort of formula where we could get a probability of relationship? So just like I was saying, this guy right here looks a lot like my great grandfather. Well, could we do a facial comparison and get it to say, oh, well, based on the facial comparison, this could be a first cousin or a second, or something like that. Or even if it's just a first degree relative, like a brother, or a sister or a parent or a child or whatever, or, anything that just gets it out a little bit further. Because right now, facial recognition is really only good for that of recognizing whether or not a person is that person. So yeah. Is it like how Google Photos does facial recognition? I imagine so. Facebook has had facial recognition out for a long time. And I think I've even seen genealogists who've uploaded photos to Facebook to do stuff like that. But I don't think facial recognition is something that a lot of genealogists really have thought about that much. I've brought it up in my talk, Future of Genealogy, a bunch. And I've been doing that talk for about 1 year and 2 months. The first time I did anything about facial recognition was a video on my main channel where I interviewed Scott Genzer, and he talked about his project, and I showed some of what he had done. But I want to say that was back in like 2022 or so. So, that was 2022, and now it's 3 years later, and we're seeing our first major company rolling something like this out. So, yeah, big deal. Sebig, hello from Norway. Might have missed a lot. Well, you got in 433. Yeah, you probably missed a good bit, but hey, you can always rewatch. Penny just tried it. It didn't recognize my brother as a baby, but it recognized my mother. Yeah, I think this is just the first step. Well, I guess it's not the first step. This is like step number 10. The first step was someone inventing it. But in terms of like the genealogy world, we're really in the early stages is what I'm talking about. And I was playing around with it to see, who could it identify? Because, I say recognize ancestor. I know this is my great grandfather, Harry Ross. Okay, it comes up. Great. That's him. Check this for my great grandmother. And she doesn't come up. It's these other people. And so it obviously there are issues. I even have her tagged as this is her. So that also tells me that they are not using our own tags to basically say, oh, you've already tagged this. So it's definitely, it's not perfect. But I think that's what we're going to see is more people play around with this, as more people learn this, then maybe we'll start to see that percentages coming out sort of thing of, not great or good or whatever, but instead 94% same face versus 88% or something like that. So, just kind of, and then in terms of just people doing more and more, taking these tools to a place no one else thought, which is a lot of what has happened over the past 10, 15 years with DNA testing. And now we've got large language model stuff, which is great, but OCR technology as well, optical character recognition, and now with facial recognition. So yeah, maybe we needed an AI tool that can guess if people are related. And yeah, I think that'd be pretty interesting. Whether or not that's possible, I don't know, but I could see that as a possibility. Slightly off topic, I have a Peter Nunes on Ancestry, a match of my mother. He's 22% Italian. Could he be your relative? It's certainly possible if he shortened his name from Nunes or from Nunes Vaz to Nunes. We had a huge branch of that family in Italy, especially up in the Tuscany region, in Firenze and Livorno. In fact, there's a couple of famous Nunes Vaz members from that side of the family. Mario Nunes Vaz was a famous photographer, and then Italo Nunes Vaz was a famous painter. And yeah. Mom Pavelski, does it tell you where the other photos come from? Which family tree had posted them? Yes. So when you go to the recognize ancestor, it'll show you the trees. So we have 5 trees that are her. I don't know if they're ranking these in terms of photos or not, because these bottom 3 have no photos attached. They're obviously just giving me the tree because they recognize, yes, this is the same woman. But this one and the other tree, they use the same photo. It's just a single photo from what looks like to be her son's graduation. So, yeah. Without the extra steps you use, just faces alone could lead people to assume more than they should in certain instances. Yeah, that's kind of the difficulty, and I think that could be one of the reasons why people have been slow to do this, is because just like the difficulty of DNA and people misinterpreting it, facial recognition is a lot more difficult and has a lot less reliability. You know, with DNA, we know for a fact you share, you know, if you're a relative of this person within a certain range, you will share about this much DNA. There's always outliers, I guess, in a sense, but like very, 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 very rarely, as opposed to facial recognition, where you could have people looking very similar and it's just not realizing, as well as just the, you know, with photos, sometimes the shadows might make some point of the face seem like a very different point of the face, might, you know, change it, as well as just how people's faces change over time. So I think you'll have, with facial recognition, you're going to deal a lot more with false positive matching. That's going to be the biggest difficulty. And then on top of that, false positive matching within the same families, because people do look alike in families. So having it say that it's this one relative when really it might be this other one, and because they're the same family, it all might seem to match up. So definitely a lot of difficulties I could see with this. 7. Keep in mind that identical twins exist. Exactly. Ancestry might have an image of one twin, but not the other, so only one of them shows up as photo matches. That's a great example. I didn't even think about something like that, but it fits exactly like I said. Like, there are people in families that look alike, identical twins, more than anybody. So that certainly could be a big issue. I can't believe 2022 was 3 years ago. Tell me about it. Irene, late, but I made it. Hello, Irene. Good to see you. Thanks for taking care of the pups over the past week. Appreciate it. John Tyner, anyone, any St. Patrick's Day's plans? No St. Patrick's Day's plans. Probably just going to work on a whole bunch of stuff. I'm doing in-person talk in a week and a half. Yeah, I guess next Sunday. I'll be doing a talk here in Durham, North Carolina. So for anyone in North Carolina, go to Judea Reform's website. You can find out about the talk. I'm doing a live one about overcoming Jewish DNA, overcoming issues of endogamy. So it's success with Jewish DNA. But yeah. Julia Joyce, I've just tried AI facial recognition and it worked. Awesome. That's great to hear. I mean, it's reliable enough that we know it works. That's definitely for sure, but it will be difficult. And I think what I was doing before, where I was clicking through, you know, I know who these family members are. Does Ancestry? And not always. I mean, look here, you know, this is my great grandfather's sister-in-law, Bertha Cohen, and she's not even in the list. Let's see if it's not even let me. Here we go. Why wouldn't it let me choose? There we go. Okay, so it is picking up my great-grandfather's brother, though. In my tree. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that photo of him. Huh. I've never seen that photo. That's a good photo. That's a cool photo. Yeah, him and Hanley Irving Rosenberg. So, all right. Are you related to Ruby Wax? No. I'm not. Actually, my Waxman family, before they came over, they were Vaxer. So, I mean, I guess it's possible I'm related to Ruby Wax, but whether or not it's through the Wax family, I don't know. My family were Vaxer. They came from a town called Talchin, which is in the Vinnytsia Oblast in Ukraine. I did a video about it years ago because I'd hired a amazing researcher out in Vinnytsia, a guy named Sergei Fazulyanov, who actually has his own YouTube channel, although it's all in Ukrainian. Very, very cool guy. Did amazing research for me. And yeah, but basically I hired that's the main point. So I don't know if we'd be related. Just been trying it out on a bunch of different images. So far, the recognition is very poor. It matches an obvious man with a random woman, and it said it was good recognition. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, we're really in the early stages. I mean, this is very much like, if for anyone who was there in the early days of DNA testing, which is funny for me to say because technically, even though I first tested in 2013, and I think I saw my first DNA results maybe 2011, 2012 from like other people doing it, let me see it. That was already like, you know, people had already been doing DNA since then, but that was kind of like when everything started to take off. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but I did not drink that very well. I just got it all in my face. One of the things about having a beard, when you do that, like your beard just soaks it all up. And I'll feel it later. So after stream, I got to wash my beard now. All right. Antonio Deleche. He has a tree of 4 unattached, so uncertain, but mentions Alfred Nunes from Bristol, Rhode Island. Okay. Interestingly enough, there is an Alfred Nunes Vaz I know from the Nunes Vaz family that came over. I can't remember if he went to Rhode Island though, but I want to say that's possible. I don't know. Karma saw someone with my surname as a director on a British TV show. The show was a failed spinoff of Doctor Who. Still cool though. No idea how we're related. Everyone with my surname are related. Yeah, those rare surnames. Those rare surnames. I see people guessing the surname too. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, maybe the tree tags aren't used because just like using trees, the tags might be wrong, gets copied from one person to another, mistakes gets propagated as fast. You just can't trust them completely. True. Unfortunately, Jose, you are super late, actually. We've been going for 52 minutes now. I guess I've only been talking for 48 or so, but still. All right. So now that we've looked at the facial recognition thing, I figured I'd dive into one of the other big updates that I thought was somewhat interesting, but I don't know how big a breakthroughs it's going to be for everybody necessarily, but I thought it was a really interesting one. And this is one from MyHeritage, and that is their cousin finder. So the idea with this is that it's helping find you cousins without DNA. And I've used it a couple of times. It is very interesting. It does work. I think more than anything, it would be helpful in terms of finding relatives who might be interested in DNA testing. So especially if you're trying to confirm something, or even more, trying to find that person who, you know, might be the right cousin to get, you know, Y DNA test or mitochondrial DNA test or whatever. This is what it looks like. You just go in, you run it. It's under the Discoveries tab on Cousin Finder, because I thought at first it was like specifically tied to DNA tests, and it's not. It basically is just a family tree comparer. So it's kind of like through lines, but not considering the DNA. So basically, if somebody has your the same ancestors in their tree, or at least MyHeritage recognizes it as the same ancestors, they will pop up. And if they've done a DNA test, it'll come up here. So yeah, you see this one DNA match. But it was really interesting because going through it, there were some cousins I noticed that was like, oh, wow, was not aware of this person. And for me, I seek out my cousins, distant ones, fifth, sixth, seventh cousins, really distant. And with this, there were like third and fourth cousins in there that was like, oh, didn't know about this person. I looked and was like, oh, that kind of matches up. There was one that was definitely wrong. That person had like a crazy tree where like the shared ancestor we had was born in the 1800s and their child was born in like 1723. So it's like really bad. But basically, this is the kind of what the list looks like. Then when you look at like the comparison, this is what it looks like. So it shows you, you know, how you're connected. So I thought this one was very interesting. And it's in a sense, it's kind of just taking like family tree matches to a different, or viewing them in a different way. So yeah, that one I thought was interesting. Now, as I mentioned before, there were a ton of updates. So if anyone wants to mention any of the updates they'd like me to look at, I'm not going to go too much longer. I'm actually not feeling too bad for how long I've been going and feeling sick or whatever. Oof. Give it a little stretch. And a bend. Tip my toe to jacuzzi, baby. Little Tenacious D for anyone who doesn't know. Okay. I guess while I'm waiting to see if any comments come in, one that I do know, I actually don't know if they're calling it an auto cluster. No, they're not. Ancestry cluster. All right, let's just go to the Ancestry blog. All right, where is... Well, they don't make it easy to find this stuff. Probably going to have a better time going to Facebook and looking at somebody's post. I know a few people who post about it already. Let's see. I think Dana Leeds posted about it. We'll go to her page. Yes, she did. Okay, so they had a short video about it. Okay, so they're calling it matches by cluster. Coming soon. So not out just yet. Not out just yet. Although, funny enough, EJ just had a big update with his auto cluster stuff that made it a lot better. But, I mean, I don't know if there's anything really that much different about this one, other than the fact that they try to also use that side view maternal-paternal thing, which, for people like me coming from endogamous populations, not sure how useful that will be, how reliable that would be. But yeah. Oh yeah. Can you share info about the Ukrainian YouTuber you mentioned, YouTube channel, etc.? Yeah. So his name is Sergey Fizulyanov. He's located in Vinnytsia Oblast. Let's see. I don't know if he still posts on it, but he doesn't have it listed. Now, if I remember correctly, he was actually in Donetsk and had to move out in 2014 with the first invasion. Let's see. Maybe it's over here. Maybe I'll have it listed here. No, he doesn't. All right, I'm going to see if I can find it a different way. My videos come up for it. Come on, Sergey, you didn't post in here. Yeah, I can't find it. All right, I'm gonna search search by his Cyrillic name. Filters, channel. No. What is going on? Sergey Fizzle. If anyone can find Sergey's channel. Oh, wow. His account got suspended from Twitter. All right. All right. Well, I can't find it. Here's his Facebook page. So maybe that'll help you find him. Yeah. Genealog Sergey Fazulyanov. I'm pretty sure he's posted on YouTube. Pretty sure. So we'll keep that up. And if anyone needs to hire a genealogist in Ukraine, especially Vinnytsia Oblast, highly recommended. There we go. Really cool tool, but can you use it for other kit/individuals you manage? I can only use it for my own cousin matching, not my other kits. Okay, yeah. I guess you're talking about the MyHeritage cousin finder, I think. Which I think that's just comparing family trees to family trees. So I guess maybe there's a way to like build your own family tree into it, but I think it's only through you. That's what you're asking about. Amy Cross interviewed Krista, and Krista mentioned the auto clustering by it should be rolled out in the next few weeks. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah. Oh, the joy of being from an indigenous population. Am I right? Well, yeah, you say that to me being Jewish and you coming from the Faroe Islands, island populations always have the worst endogamy. And if I remember correctly, you said one time that basically you just trace back all Faroe Islands on all lines for like hundreds of years. So I'm guessing you're probably dealing with it a lot worse than I am. So, Broseph. Hello, Jared. I hope you're doing good. I just recently did my family tree DNA family finder testing kit. Will the Y-DNA haplogroup be good enough to tell me about my Jewish heritage on that side? Thanks. I have not checked out the base level haplogroups they've been putting out for family tree DNA, but assuming that it's very similar to like 23andMe's, it might be slightly helpful, but not like completely. So basically, the haplogroup can give you an indication of whether or not that's common amongst Jewish populations, and thus giving you a bit more confidence of it possibly being Jewish heritage. But I don't think it's going to prove it outright. To do that, you would really need to do family tree DNA's Y-DNA test, and you can just do the most basic one, I think, and then that one will give you more than enough information to tell if you're coming from a Jewish branch or not. So, yeah, I am on Blue Sky, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's there. But yeah. Yeah, I think he's okay. I mean, I just saw him. I think I just saw him posting today. So, I guess he just posted December 18th. But yeah, when did he post? Because he commented on one of my posts from RootsTech, actually, because I met with Anatoly Kromov, the head of the State Archives of Ukraine, I think that's right, or it's the archival service. Either way, he's the head of it, and I know that they're all kind of dealing with a lot of stuff out in Ukraine, but yeah, I believe he's doing all right. I will have fun, Brian. Probably good timing because I'm starting to hit that point where I don't think my voice can really take it that much longer. So, yeah. Two of my adult children have their DNA tested but have opted not to share their information. How common is that? I wonder how many other matches have closed the doors for us. Unfortunately, I don't know how common that is, but I know it is not uncommon. I've had people in my own family who've done that, and then years later I ask them if they would test, and they're like, I already did. And I'm like, well, you're not coming up. And they're like, oh, well, I might have made it private, but I can't remember how to get in there anymore. So, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, Daniel, whoa, finally caught up in 2 times speed. Jared is to regular. Jared is a whiplash. Wow, I hope you're not saying I sound slow. Yes, I do, but at least my parents are only 6 cousins once removed, twice over, but only 6 cousins. Oh, that's awesome to hear, Vicky. That's awesome to hear. I think my voice is hitting that point. I'm not going to read everything. I'll put it up on screen, but I'll just respond. Wow, 300 years back. That's crazy. Yeah, you've got that true and doc. The island populations are crazy. I'm guessing you've got pages upon pages of DNA matches that are like over 200 centimorgans. At least 100 centimorgans. We get that for Jewish DNA. I can't imagine for yours. Yeah. Okay. So if the haplogroups are giving are a bit better than 23andMe, which by better, my assumption means that they're giving a more, they're giving a further subclade than you typically get on 23andMe, basically meaning closer in time. So, yeah, that's always helpful. Seeing when they logged in last, because then if you send a message, you go back and you're like, they haven't responded, but you look and it's like, oh, well, they haven't logged in. Okay. All right. I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it. I definitely need to take a nap here. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to give a like, do the subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And thank you again. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Friday, wonderful weekend. Yeah, I guess I'll see you all next week on the main channel. I'm Jarrett Rossagini Vlogger. I'm out.